This is the Prosoft Gateway Plx32-Eip-Mbtcp. On the back of the gateway, there is an SD card slot. Currently, there is no SD card installed on the gateway. There are two Ethernet ports on the gateway, Ethernet port 1 and Ethernet port 2. Ethernet port 1 is for configuration upload and download from and to the gateway, and it is also for the communication between the PLC and the gateway over Allen Bradley Ethernet IP. Ethernet port 1 IP address is 192.168.0.50. Ethernet port 2, it is for Modbus TCP only. Let's connect both ports on the gateway and the PLC to a common Ethernet switch. The PLC, the gateway Ethernet port 1, the gateway Ethernet port 2, and the blue one is for my computer. On the computer, in Network and Sharing Center, let's assign an IP address to the computer to make it on the same network with the PLC and the gateway. The computer IP address will be 192.168.0.11. The subnet mask 255.255.255.0. Okay, close. Now let's open the gateway configuration in the Prosoft Configuration Builder. Prosoft Configuration Builder. Ethernet configuration. For Ethernet port 1, the IP address is 192.168.0.50. The net mask 255.255.255.0, and the gateway 192.168.0.1. And for Ethernet port 2, IP address 192.168.1.100. The net mask 255.255.255.0. The gateway 192.168.1.1. Currently, the gateway doesn't have an SD card installed. Per Prosoft Plx32-Eip-Mbtcp series user manual. Page 12. Without an SD card, the Prosoft configuration builder will download the configuration to the gateway's internal memory. If you want to copy the configuration to the SD card, you must download the configuration while the SD card is in the gateway. So it is not possible to download the configuration from the computer directly to the SD card. Let's go back to Prosoft configuration builder. Right click, download from PC to device, browse device, select the gateway, download, OK. Now let's open Mod Scan 32 to test the Modbus communication. Connection, connect. The gateway Ethernet port 2 IP address is 192.168.1.100. Now let's change the computer IP address to make it on the same network with the gateway Ethernet port 2. The computer IP address will be 192.168.1.11. OK. OK. Close. Values for Modbus holding registers from 40001, 40002 all the way to 40020, or from 0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 all the way to 1. Everything works. The IP address for the Ethernet port 2 in the gateway internal memory configuration is 192.168.1.100. For the SD card to store the gateway configuration, it first will need to be in FAT32 format. FAT32. Let's remove it from the computer. Let's power down the gateway. Let's insert the SD card into the gateway. Now let's power it back up. If the SD card is empty, the gateway is using the factory default configuration, which is not what we just downloaded to the gateway internal memory. For the factory default configuration, Ethernet port 1 IP address is 192.168.0.250 and Ethernet port 2 IP address is 192.168.1.250. If we're using ModScan32 to test Modbus communication from the gateway Ethernet port 2, we will get nothing from IP address 192.168.1.100 in the gateway internal memory configuration or 192.168.1.250 in the gateway factory default configuration. First, let's try with 192.168.1.100. Device not connected. Now, let's try it with 192.168.1.250. Okay. Everything is zero. No data. Now let's change the IP address for Ethernet port 2 before download the new configuration to the SD card. Let's change it to 192.168.1.120. Okay. Let's change the computer IP address to make it on the same network with the gateway Ethernet port 1. One 192.168.0.11. Okay, close. Now let's go to the gateway user manual again. On page 12, within SD card, the Prosoft configuration builder will download the configuration to the SD card in the gateway. The gateway does not transfer the configuration data from the SD card to its internal memory. If you remove the SD card and reboot the gateway will load the configuration data from the gateway's memory. If there is no configuration data in the gateway's memory, the gateway uses the factory default configuration. Now let's go back to Prosoft Configuration Builder. Let's download the new configuration to the SD card. Right-click, download from PC to device, browse device, select the gateway. We can see the default IP address for Ethernet port 1, 192.168.0.250. Download. Module running. Okay. Now let's change the computer IP address to make it on the same network with the gateway Ethernet port 2. The computer IP address is 192.168.1.11. Okay, close. Now let's use ModScan32 to check the Modbus communication from the gateway Ethernet port 2. In the new configuration on the SD card, the gateway Ethernet port 2 IP address is 192.168.1.120. Connection. Connect the gateway Ethernet port 2 IP address 192.168.1.120. Okay. Modbus holding registers. Values for Modbus holding registers from 4001, 4002 all the way to 40020, or from 0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 all the way to 1. Now let's disconnect it from the gateway. Now let's power down the gateway. And remove the SD card from it. Then power it back up. Now let's try using ModScan32 to test the Modbus communication from the IP address 192.168.1.120 to see if the configuration on the SD card was downloaded to the gateway internal memory or not. Connection. Connect 192.168.1.120. Okay. Device not connected. Connection terminated. No communication. So it's gone with the SD card. Now let's try it with the IP address 192.168.1.100 in the original configuration that we earlier downloaded directly to the gateway internal memory. Connection. Connect. .192.168.1.100. Okay. Values go from 0, 0.1, 0.2 all the way to 1. It works. That will be it for this video. Thank you for watching. If this video is helpful and you like the content of my channel, please like, share and subscribe. A separate thanks at the lower right corner is also a great way to show your support to my channel. Thank you.